Welcome to A Woman's Brew, where women talk about beer. In today's episode, we're joined by Rich from Werewolf Beer, an American brewery in London. I'm Joanne, and this is Tori.
Hello.
And we're two beer-loving women on a mission to get more people drinking and talking about great beer. Come join us.
To start, Rich, do you want to tell us who you are? Well, I've kind of said your name. Do you want to tell us who you are, what your background is before we get into why you're here today?
Yeah, my name's Rich White. That's me. And I'm the owner, director, head brewer, wacky person behind Werewolf Beer. I'm originally from Syracuse, New York, and I moved to the UK in 2013. I've done a bit of brewing stuff here and there. I was the head brewer at London Brewing Company for 5 years. And I used to brew in the States. I home brewed, and then lots of brew pubs, and then more home brewing. And that's the basic me.
That's brilliant. I like the fact that you came here in 2013. I also came here in 2013.
Right.
What is the difference between us?
I see you in the same room, so you're not the same person.
That's true. I found you on Insta. I sort of discovered Werewolf Beers on Instagram because of the whole American aspect. And then we had a conversation a few times, and we both discovered that we both really like Frank Turner. And how is it that you moved here? Because I think we're very similar in that aspect as well.
So there was the big Frank Turner. It's great because I have visual aids.
Hey, brilliant. For those listening, he is showing us a Frank Turner poster.
I love Frank Turner.
Yes. So his Wembley Arena tour in 2012, I was coming over. I had a spare ticket. And because I had a spare ticket, the person I was coming with was not coming with me. And first time out of the US, and I needed somebody to hang out with. So I went on his message board and said, all right, I'm coming all this way. First time outside the country. I'm in England alone. If you show me around town, I'll buy the drinks. And then somebody said, well, if you're coming all this way to see my favorite musician, I think that I should probably buy the drinks for you. And since I've lived in London since whatever year, and basically I will show you around. It's my pleasure. We started a Facebook group just to trade tickets for that show called the Frank Turner Army.
Yeah,
nice.
I'm part of that group. I was part of that group anyways at one point.
Laura and I were members 1 and 2.
Sergeant Major.
Yes, Laura is the Sergeant Major.
Yes.
So we started that just so we
crazy.
could trade tickets for that and then have a bit of a meetup with people,
Yeah.
Which happened. And we met all sorts of awesome people, a lot of whom I still talk to and hang out with. Not during the lockdown because that's weird, but if there wasn't a lockdown, I would.
Yeah.
And Laura and I took her to see Matilda the musical that weekend, and ruined
brilliant.
her for theater for a long time. And we got matching tattoos in Camden town on Sunday morning, and then got really, really, really tore up at Brewdog.
Yeah.
Excellent. What's the tattoo? What was the matching tattoo?
Yeah.
I can't show it.
No, yeah. It's not on her butt or anything.
X-rated.
Okay.
No, it's Laura said for her 10th tattoo she had to get a skull, so we got a skull with a compass rose.
Nice.
It's appropriate
very
for
nice.
travel. So
Yeah, absolutely.
That is
We're- We're both travelers. I used to work on cruise ships, so I've been to all the crazy places.
that's like a real traveler.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
like proper travel.
I've been to, Skagway, Alaska, which is like a street between two mountains.
Yeah, she loves to tell me all about these amazing beers in Alaska, and I was like,
Alaskan beers are amazing.
when am I
Wish
going to
we could
get? She's
more
like,
of them
you
over
should really
here."
try this one.
I'm
I
gonna
was like,
do my
no, I
best
did,
to
like-
do her.
Yeah, come on.
Hold on. This is not in any way advancing my brand or anything, but it's just hilarious. So my mom went to Alaska and she was really excited, and it was the end of the season, so the cruise ship was
Yep.
getting rid of all the tat.
Yep.
And she's like,
There's
for
a
$1,
lot of Alaska tat.
I got you this.
What?
Oh my god. Yes. So
The air.
it is. That's
Sarah
right.
Palin
No,
Bucknut.
right. So I've had a pic. I took a picture with the Sarah Palin standee that's in Juneau. So outside one of the gift shops, there's a Sarah Palin. So you can just take pictures. So we just go take ironic pictures with Sarah.
I'm gonna go need to see that photo later.
I'll find it.
You're
I'll
gonna have
find
to
it.
send me that photo.
Yeah, it's brilliant. Like we're all just, and because so I was a wardrobe supervisor, so I was there with like lots of dancers. So we do the dance, you know, the showgirl bevel. So every picture you take, you're like standing tall, pointing your toe, and there's me beveling with Sarah Palin in Alaska. Brilliant.
But a proper knife with Sarah Palin's face in it. That is
That's Alaska.
Next level. That is brilliant.
I love it. Brilliant.
But anyways, back
Sorry.
to you and not Alaska. I feel like this whole
derailed.
episode is like a plug to Alaska. Like you're welcome, Alaska, for your.
I love you, Alaska. I wish I could come back.
I
in
would
the
like to
winter.
go for the first time. But yeah, so back to you. You have a crowdfunder that's going to be ending in just over a week's time from when this episode comes out. So everybody should go support that. But do you want to tell us a bit about that? Yeah, you do. Just if you've ever watched the show Superstore and the annoying husband of the guy, every time he walks the room, he goes bam bam bam.
Oh, I need to get that. I need to get that.
Can you cut his voice?
Do we have a
please?
soundboard for that? So you can just hit a key.
I know. No, I need to.
We
do
need
it.
that.
When I edit,
Keep
I'll
saying
put
we
it
need
in.
the sound.
Oh,
Yeah, we need to
fantastic.
get someone. I'll just
So-
edit it in. It's fine.
Like leave the space now.
So it's crowdfunder.co.uk/werewolf beer. Everything is werewolf beer. It's very easy. So yeah, we are looking to raise £30,000 to help with getting a canning line, because with lockdowns and things, people not having trade sales, some breweries were basically saved by having a canning line. And I wasn't planning on having one for a couple of years, and now I'm like, no, it's got to happen. If we have another lockdown or something funny happens, it makes a lot of sense.
Absolutely.
Need to put in drainage and do a lot of work on the railway arch. And I still, because I can't get into it. There's no way to figure out exactly what it's going to cost. So that's not good. And there's been lots and lots of negotiations and solicitors are great, but they're not cheap. Solicitors are like tattoos. Like a good one isn't cheap and a cheap one isn't good.
You don't want the
Yeah.
cheap one.
Yeah. So you know, I'm doing things by the book and the way they're supposed to be done, and doing that is expensive.
Yes.
So we need to get £30,000 in the pot, and it's an all or nothing. So we need to get to that. At the time of recording, we're just over 20 grand. So we gotta kind of get about 10K in 10 days. And my wife came up with that earlier, and I balked at it, and it sounds really good now. And I'm glad she's not here to like hear me.
She's gonna gloat
Boast
over
about
that.
it, yeah,
If, she
she'll
was,
gloat
if you
about it,
didn't send
yeah.
her off, she was gonna be like in the background, like,
That
yeah,
was me.
That's it. After we record this, I'll go on Instagram and I'll just share something of 10 grand in 10 days.
10K in 10.
10K, yeah,
10K in
10K
10
in
days.
10 days.
That's the hashtag. There we
Ready?
go.
I'm gonna take a photo of this right now, and that's what I'm gonna do. is I'm
10K
gonna
in 10
go
days.
Share that. 10K in 10 days.
10K. 10 days. It's like a monster truck rally.
Yes, that's it. It's like 10 days, 10 days, 10
Thunderdome.
days.
This is where it's going to go whoo over my head, isn't it? As an
Ooh,
English person.
Truckosaurus.
I mean, I know.
Yeah.
I know what
Truckosaurus.
I know what monster truck is. I get the idea, but yeah,
I get the concept.
I get the
of what a
concept.
monster
I'm like,
truck is.
very big wheels like a tractor.
Yeah, sort of like that.
Oh god. So back to the crowdfunder.
Yeah.
Circling back around.
Circling back round.
So we've got, the one thing is, because I don't have a brewery. I mean, I have the equipment and I have the concept and I have the license and all those things, but I don't have beer because I don't have a place to put all those things to make beer. So it's been a bit tough, and it's made me a bit prone to imposter syndrome, because I have to.
Preach.
Yeah, I mean, I have it anyway, but
Yeah.
then while trying to bring this project to fruition, and being like, hey, give me money to make beer because I'm not making it currently, and I have to like find clever yet inoffensive ways of saying I'm not a city banker that like got bored with my 6-figure salary and decided to start making beer. Like, I make beer and now I want to do more of it and help them MFer out. So yeah, we've got t-shirts. We launched our brand new logo, which is not this. It's big and pointy and very, very gothic and whatnot. Some t-shirts by Alan Graves, who owns Haunted Tattoo in Holloway, with a really awesome tattoo werewolf face on it. We've got beer taproom discounts. So we just launched the big one today. I've had, the double your money. I was trying not to do that like on this scale, but I've launched them today. So if you put in 500 pounds, you get a 1,000-pound bar tab. Like,
wow.
Yeah.
Whether you live to regret that is another story, but
I did limit them, and they'll be T's and C's. Like, no, you can't do it in one night.
That's madness.
Or personal challenge.
You will be
Can you
dead.
do it in one night?
You eat all the steak. Eat the whole steak, and it's free. Sorry, great outdoors. Hashtag great outdoors. Am I the first person to reference John Candy in a podcast?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
I think in this podcast anyways, because I think most people, you'd say John Candy, and a lot of people that I know anyways would be like, who are you talking about?
Really?
Yeah. A lot of people I
I'm
know
old,
just
though.
have no idea.
I'm old though with a baby face.
Oh, stop
Same
it.
That's right. Good genes, man.
I've found always being a little bit chubby, make sure you don't get wrinkles.
Yes. Do you know what? I think that's what it is.
Circling back around to the beer.
Yep. Sorry.
Right.
No,
this is
the
perfect.
thing is we're
This is
trying
what
to
we
be
do.
we're trying to be really on point for you, because normally when it's the two of us, we just go haywire off the rails. But we find when we have a guest, we like end up being on best behavior.
Apparently not tonight.
Well, not tonight, yeah. But we did have a tasting before this, so I blame it on that. But yeah, so I think the important thing that we have to go back to is what you sort of briefly mentioned, which is the location that you found is Railway Arches in Camden, isn't it?
It is. So nobody's used them in like 30 years, so they look really haunted and stuff. I mean, it won't look like haunted when I get it, but it is central. It's right across from Camden Road Overground. So it's like across the street from the Draft House. Well, the Camden Road Arms or whatever Brewdog has changed it to now. Maybe a 5-minute walk from Brewdog Camden and the Underground Station. 2-minute walk to get on the Regent's Canal path.
Amazing.
And then the Camden Highline project, if it goes ahead, will go over the top. So it'll basically be a really awesome garden walkway on the old disused rail line between Camden Market and King's Cross. And it'll have a hop off point right near where we are. So it's a 14-minute walk to work. It's in a cool rock and roll place. And I will be adorning it with the Camden appropriate haunted ghost train, which you did see the picture of.
Yes. If we can share the picture somewhere, either in the feed of this or in the comments.
I can probably put it in the video feed. So if you're listening, come to the YouTube video to see that picture, because
I saw the photo
now,
and it was lots of like neon colored bits and bobs, and I absolutely loved it. But I love Camden anyways. It's probably my favorite spot in London. It's like if I'm going out to London, I'm always like, we should probably just go to Camden, even just for a little bit, because it's just Camden. If you told me if you said what's your favorite part of London, it would be Camden, hands down. So it's nice to hear that there's sort of more places that are planning on opening up, because it's just more places to go and drink and have a good night out. So
it's it's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be so cool.
So yeah, as we were saying. So you're opening the place in Camden. So was the reason behind it, so I take from what you said that you live in Camden?
I live Holloway, just down the road. So the first thing was I became irrationally obsessed with all of these arches at Camden Road Overground. So that was the first thing. You might say mistake, but I just got fixated on it, and then more opened up and I got excited. But I did some fill-in work at Hammerton, which is a 14-minute walk in the other direction.
Okay.
And I was like, this is amazing. It was 14 minutes to walk to work. And when
You
I
didn't have to
yeah.
take the
That's
tube. You
amazing.
didn't have to like mess
That's,
around with any
that's
of that.
literally the conversation that I've been having this week about work. Is like, oh, we're going to start coming back to the office. And I work for a small charity in Kent. And they're, we're going to start coming back to the office. You're admin, like in the admin team, you're going to start coming back soon. And I was like, you know what? I'm not worried about being in the office. It's the commute. It's only 20 minutes drive into work. But I don't have a parking space at work, so I have to use a bus. I have to go to the park and ride and driving because I'm in Canterbury and there's no parking. That's like an hour's commute and an hour home. Like, I don't want to do that anymore.
It's absolutely soul sucking.
Yeah, I don't want to do that anymore. That's like part of my life that I've got back and I've got to get rid of it again. No, thank you.
And I think especially like if you're in London, there's also there has to be some level of concern as well because of COVID and the close proximities. Like,
Yeah,
there's no
using public
real
transport.
Yes, there's social distancing and all that, but really, I mean, I don't know. I'm not there on the ground. I know people that live in London. I'm not far outside London. There's got to be some level of like, yes, there's social distancing, but how well are people adhering to that?
It's I mean, from afar it looks really bad. It's not too bad right now. There's still people on the tube that no mask, half a mask.
Yeah.
And unfortunately TfL have been completely British about it and said, well, we have no way to enforce this.
Yeah, it's the please could you do that? And then they're like, no. Okay.
It's like, we're going to sit there and we're going to tut about it, but we're not going to enforce you to put your mask on properly because we don't like confrontation because we're British.
You said it, not us.
I did.
Yeah.
I can say it.
Everybody agreed. So
right, and everyone agreed. So that's what we're going to do, and we're just going to really loudly to you,
loud, passive aggressive.
Your mask on. Yeah.
I just find it fascinating that like you picked the railway arches. Like that's got to be a really so looking at the photos of what's there, like that's the shell of something that's going to be, I think, just a really cool, like anything in a railway arch I think is going to have a really cool sort of structure to it to begin with in a way. And it's cool that you managed to track it down. How difficult was it to get that spot? Like, did you have to really jump on it the second it came? Did they go quickly, just out of curiosity?
I've been looking at the spot, even like, so I've been working on planning all this for about 2 years. But in my head, I think most of my adult life, I always go by something. I'm like, that'd be an amazing brewery. And so I was looking at commercial property like 3 or 4 years ago, and all of these railway arches were there. I think it was a private owner. So there's buildings are part of it, and like the arches go into the buildings. So there's some really cool stuff. And I initially looked at one almost 2 years ago, but it was like right in people's back gardens. And I'm like, this isn't going to work.
No.
And there was another one next to it, which was it never had anything. It never had anything in it. Like the floor was dirt. It wasn't even concrete. And they're like, we could refurb this. I was going rounds with their architect and all this stuff. And finally, the agent said, listen, we've got a new one across the street, and I think you're going to like it. And he brought me in. I was the first one to look at it. And it's got this giant yard. So it's gated and goes right to the street. And then it's got 500 square meters or whatever it is. 300. It's 1,400 square feet, whatever the hell that is.
I don't know. Don't ask me. I don't
know feet. I know meters. I'm British.
I don't know meters.
Yeah. It might have 50 square meters. Does that sound right?
Maybe.
I don't know. It's enough to
it's big.
It's enough to put like an 18-wheeler in. And so basically I've got area for a beer garden, and it does look pretty cool. And to be fair, the gate's got barbed wire on it. Like it's pretty badass.
Well, yeah, I was going to say, like in true Camden fashion, you have to have like the barbed wire. You've got to have that that grungy look to it. It's kind of like, if you don't have a grungy look to it, like, are you even in Camden? What's the point of being in Camden if you're going to have a nice, clean lines and, nice modern aesthetic? Like, why are you even in Camden? Just don't bother. It wouldn't feel right doing that.
It's gonna be really, really cool. I mean, that's all I can say. I'm gonna at one point I was like, oh, I should do concept drawings, and then I was like, no, I'll do it in claymation. And so I've got like 2 kilos of plasticine, because during lockdown, I got bored and started doing claymation.
Nice.
And
That's
my wife was like,
exciting.
"Oh, I want to encourage your art," and I'm like, "So now I've got a giant box of plasticine."
Nice.
I'm not going to do that.
No.
I love the fact that you even said that, because I don't think that I have ever heard anybody else talk about doing a claymation for a brewery, and I don't think I'll probably ever hear about that again. So I think that was very unique of you even considering doing claymation. That's brilliant.
I think it's really on brand. In my head, I think are we all old enough to remember Three Little Pigs by Green Jello?
No.
No.
Is that an American thing?
It was over here as well. It was a really
Is
small
it?
band, but in like the 90s, when like all these really bizarre bands had like one hit, and MTV.
I was thinking like Primus or something like that, like that level.
Yeah, they weren't as good at musicians as Primus, but it was about that time. But yeah, so just look up Green Jello, except Jello sued them and they had to change the name to Green Jelly. And it's three Little Pigs, and yeah, it's this bonkers claymation mess. And that's how I imagine claymation Werewolf Beer would be, like somewhere between that and like Pee-wee's Playhouse.
Okay, I know.
I've got Pee-wee's Playhouse on DVD.
Okay.
Do you know Morph and that? Have you been shown Morph?
I have.
Yeah.
I have.
Is it as bonkers as that? More bonkers than that?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think less terrifying though. I think Morph is really.
Morph's not terrifying. He's a lovely little clay
This all
friend.
means nothing to
Have you not
me.
seen Morph?
No.
So this is the thing. So he's a little like clay man, and he used to be on Heart Art. So there was a famous artist called Tony Hart, who's actually from my hometown of Maidstone, and he did like an art show, and then they had Morph. I can't remember what Morph's friend is off the top of my head because I've had too many beers. But they've got so Morph is orange. And
yeah, I've just googled it. It is.
Have you just googled him?
Horrifying. Agreed.
It's not
That is
horrifying.
terrifying.
That's part of my
That is terrifying.
childhood. Bloody Americans.
As an outsider, that's
Sorry,
horrifying.
we had Gumby. We had Gumby.
Right,
and
you've
Gumby
got Gumby, who's basically
Gumby,
an orange stick.
smoother, less
green.
Yeah, less
Green
less
stick,
scary.
yeah.
Smokey
He
is
looks like
orange.
a
Smokey's orange.
He looks like a stick of gum.
It does a bit
Yeah.
less terrifying, less intimidating.
I'm going to defend.
Yeah,
I will
that's
defend.
now.
Morph.
I'm gonna go Google that now. The
Yeah.
Three Little Pigs, because now I'm gonna be like,
Yeah.
what? I bet when I see it, I'll be like, that's what it is. I just can't picture it in my head. But yeah, now we can all visualize what you would have done.
Yeah.
With your clay.
The more I think about it, this brewery. I mean, obviously, it's going to be, the beer's not going to be that weird. It's just going to be good.
Yeah.
But it's like I think this brewery is going to be like if Guar was a brewery.
That is fucking brilliant. Sorry, she's gonna have to beep because you're allowed to swear. I'm not allowed to
She's not
swear.
allowed to swear.
I get beeped.
I mean, I'm gonna have to leave it now. 'cause it's
Oh my
already
god.
in there.
That is the idea of that is fantastic. And I'm sure we are just waiting to see when you get to that point and you start like posting photos of, because we're doing positive, you're gonna get that crowdfunder, it's gonna happen, and then you're gonna be posting the photos of like, here's me decorated, and I want to see like a guar head. Let's
Oh yeah. No,
On the
when you see the close-ups of the of all the wall hangings that came out of the haunted house, they're absolutely mad. There's a big panel that there's a 3D spider you'll see in, like, if you look on my Instagram, and it like comes out of the wall like in 3 big sections and has hanging arms, and it's like green. It's very retro 60s spider.
Yeah.
But beneath it, under where the webs are, there's like a big flat wall panel with a spider web drawn in it, and like a half-naked woman being disemboweled going and I'm just like, what is this? Like,
so did you just like acquire all this stuff and you're like, well, I've got it now, this is cool.
Yeah.
This will make a cool wall hanging. How did that happen? Tell us how that happened, because now I'm really curious.
Because all of my friends have had to listen to what Werewolf Beer was going to be like and about for like so damn long without anything actually happening. And one of them in Norwich, my friend Emily, sent me a message and said, "You need to see this now." She knows I love junk shops and antique shops and stuff. And
Who doesn't?
Magdalen Street or Magdalen Ave in Norwich is just, it's like blocks of them. And she was walking down one day, and the front window, which is the picture you've got, is all of these train cars that are giant skulls, and all of these mummies and guys in coffins and witches and stuff. And she's like, "You need to call this guy." And I had to buy, like, he would break it up. Like, I really wanted the cars because I'm going to use them for seating.
Oh, that's badass. So we will, again, for anyone that's listening, we're going to try to put the photo that you sent us into the video, because it was a really cool photo. And the idea of what we saw, the idea of that being seating, that is badass. So that is awesome.
Yeah. He wouldn't let me take, like, I took 3 of the rail cars, and there's probably, I think there's 2 or 3 more out there, and I could have bought them, but they were really expensive.
Yeah.
And I probably spent far more than I should have on this, but I honestly am not, like, I'm not doing anything frivolous with money for this, except for this. Even my wife convinced me. She's like, "You'll find a way to monetize the ridiculousness of this." And so, I mean, if I end up having the wankiest, most off-kilter, Instagrammable, brew, tap room
That's
in
how
London.
you get them in. Get them.
That is also
Instagram photos. That's how you get.
That is also like that's Camden. Like, I feel like that is just that's got to be Camden. Like, if it was just this boring, really clean lines, even if you went for the whole like industrial look or something like that, like, it just would not be Camden.
No,
But, like,
it's gonna be, honestly, it's gonna be made out of this stuff and like oil drums and American license plates and hubcaps. It's gonna be, I'm trying to think of which kind of roadside horror movie, something kind of in like the Rob Zombie House of a Thousand Corpses,
nice,
haunted gas station kind of thing.
Brilliant.
For anyone watching the video, you've got one of the license plates behind you that says Werewolf.
That's my mom. That was a Christmas present. She had some lady make it for me, so it's like, a bunch of different U.S. state license plates.
Yeah, it says Werewolf Beer, and it's made out of U.S. license plates for anybody listening and watching the video. It's really cool. I noticed that right away, and I was like, that is awesome. The fact that you've got that. So yeah, well done to your mum. That is super cool. She's
pretty badass.
Yeah,
mums are the best, aren't they?
Yeah, it's genetic. It's family trait.
Mm-hmm.
That is awesome. So, in terms of, you mentioned the beer that you're going to have, you're like, well, regardless, obviously we know it's going to be good, but you said you're not going to go too wacky with it. Are you going to keep things American style in the beer? Are you going to go traditional British? Are you going to blend the two? What are you thinking for the types of beer that you're going to do?
We're going back to the rose tinted glasses of my indoctrination into craft beer, which is like the 2000s.
Okay.
Like going to beer advocate festivals in Boston and the Great American Beer Festival, and there being a brew pub on every corner, and home brewers making every classic style from around the planet. And yeah, it's really going to be American style beer. So I mean, but it's going to be a bit more classic. It's not going to be, not to say there won't be some, but it's not going to be hazy IPAs. It's going to be balanced, smooth, bitter, mostly clear beers. The core range is looking like a pale ale. Big surprise.
Nice.
Rice lager. Rice lager.
Right. Okay. Interesting.
Nice.
I had almost a month in Japan for our 40th birthdays, and I'm like, yep, nope, need it.
I'm Team Japan, so I'm like, yeah,
all over it. Yeah, there she goes.
Last time I tried to show it, I couldn't show it because I had a long sleeve on, and I was like, I've got a Japanese tattoo, but I couldn't.
Right, so listeners, you need to come over to the YouTube video.
Yeah, I'm not going to describe it
or his tattoo because it's epic.
Let's say that's Okami fox.
It's a kitsune.
Yeah. Okay.
It's a kitsune with the mask.
Oh, I like it.
And I've made the fox look like my dog, sort of. The eyeliner.
Oh, Palin.
Yeah. Who was budging at the door? Was like.
So, what else? Rye IPA. Everything needs to have.
Yes,
rye.
please. I love rye.
I have a killer rye IPA recipe.
Oh yeah.
That's going to be. So the names are. So the pale ale is Psychobilly. The rice lager is Moonstomp. The rye IPA is Horror Show.
Yes.
The American Brown Ale.
I love an American brown ale. I mean, I love a brown ale, but an American one.
Yeah.
Yes, please.
No, it's very good. It's very, very good. And that's Creepster.
Yes.
And then I think the last one in the core range is going to be kind of like a session citrus thing, which will be Stray Cat.
Nice.
Because
which is interesting.
People love cats, and Stray Cats are one of the best bands ever.
I think you've got a solid and I think the thing is when you were like, we're going to go more traditional with it, like, okay, there's a bit more traditional in there, but I also think that kind of makes you a bit more unique because there's not a lot of people putting out, I feel there's not a lot of craft places that are putting out rye beers.
I love rye. And do you know what? I had this conversation with an American on Instagram the other day. So people say that beer is like, if it's got chili,
got a shipyard.
They say it's
Sorry, Marstons.
I'm gonna
if it helps, you're redeemed though.
I've got a Giant Eye, and I've just finished my Firestone Walker Union.
Oh, okay. Union Jack is.
It was lovely. I really
enjoyed
it.
Beer.
So Tori and I have just come from an American IPA tasting that I hosted in my beer membership.
Trying to finish stuff.
The beer tent society, because we were trying different American IPAs, and that's what I've got. I've also got an English one that's a West Coast. And a New England from we're from Neon Raptor. So we've tried all the American beers, which we felt was appropriate for today. What was I saying before we got into this?
Rye.
I love rye, and I was having a conversation with someone on Instagram, with an American on Instagram the other day. So when a brewery adds chili, people go, it's spicy. It's not spicy. You're getting the heat from the chili, but when you add rye, you get that lovely spiciness and that earthiness. Oh, I love a bit of rye in a beer.
It's the difference of when someone says it's spicy or spiced. It's not what you describe food spicy, is it?
If it's spiced, then it's got like cinnamon, ginger, nutmeg, blah blah. If it is spicy, it's got that heat, that earthiness, and then there's that spicy heat. They're two different things. It's really interesting. Love rye in beer. It's brilliant.
But I think that's that sets you apart a bit because not a lot of people in the craft scene are doing that, and definitely not in like a core range and
very
like
American.
rice lager as well. Like that is, you don't see that often. I think there was one from Braybrook not that long ago, but even so, maybe. that's not a core range. It's very much just a one-off brew. So I think that's a lot of unique things that are really interesting, that are also sessionable. People are going to enjoy them, so that's totally good. And I will say I noticed that you were drinking out of a beer cozy, and that's the thing that I think does not happen in this country a lot. It's definitely an American thing, and it's part of your crowdfunder.
There are koozies in the crowdfunder.
I need one. Right,
I was just going to say
this is a municipal waste one. So it's
I'm looking at my beer koozie collection, but it's in a box, so I can't get it out right now. But having worked on cruise ships, having lived in America for a bit, I have a beer koozie collection, but I don't think we don't use them in this country. Oh, she's got a shipyard one.
Yeah, I've got a shipyard one for you.
I've got
I'm
looking
a Miller Lite.
I'm looking right. Okay, hang on. We're gonna pause.
Yeah,
and I'm
we
gonna edit
need to see that.
I'm getting my collection out. Here we go.
I just love the fact that I saw the beer koozie and I was like, finally somebody that has a beer koozie.
Well, and it's a real not to the ones you have are the ones that are really easy to flatten out and they're like really, really cheap. I'm trying to source the proper
which
foam
are the ones that don't. So yeah, to be fair, I think you get them for like every event. So like a Miller one's free. The shipyard one I did get. So this is the thing, is you're drinking shipyard, but over here obviously it's macro. In the US it's not. I've been to Portland's shipyard numerous times and I've got this from they were doing a pack and I got it from there, but I mean it's still cheap probably compared to what you've got.
I can just see the pile.
Can you see my right?
That is
right.
Incredible. I've got a few, but that's not
going back to Alaskan
from Alaskan.
I love Alaskan. I've got the bottle opener. This is my bottle koozie from Alaskan. This is my Her and Kings County signed one because I met Herring Kings
Ooh.
County because I did a Blake Shelton cruise, and this is a for those that are only listening, this is a cowboy boot. Cowboy, I've got 2 of those cowboy boot shaped koozie for the Blake Shelton cruise. I've got a Texas one.
The boot really kills me.
I've got so many country ones. Maggie Rose, because she was on the cruise. This is the cruise ships I worked on. The Norwegian Breakaway. We had koozies. Duff Beer.
Yes.
Leonard Skinner, because I did a Leonard Skinner cruise when I was working on there. Clayton Anderson, he's my bud. I've met him and he's my friend now.
You have a Kiss one. That's the real one.
Kiss didn't do one because I did a Kiss cruise. Skagway Brewing Co. back to Alaska. Here we go. Oh, this is a good one. The Frog and Onion Brew Pub in Bermuda.
Oh, isn't that the one where you stole your
that's where
your glasses? Your Oktoberfest glasses.
I stole an Oktoberfest glass from there. I have no idea. Someone's given me this one, and it says, "Always a party at the pier." Don't know where that one came from.
That makes it even funnier.
I've got a Gators one because I did. I did half a semester at the University of Florida, so I am a Gator. This one's monogrammed. It's got J on it, and because I used to be a sailor, it's got anchors on it. I've got another Herring Kings County one, and it says "Rock out with your chicken out." And then I've got a Jared Neiman one that says "Real women always drink beer," and this one says "Fly." Welcome to my koozie collection.
You, I think, maybe beat both of us in the koozie. So, I don't even think I've got half the amount. I've got more than those 2, but I definitely don't have half that. I don't know if you've got more than I do.
I've got a slap koozie from Alaskan as well somewhere. I don't know where that is. That must be in the bottom.
But that is a collection, and if I had known when I came to visit you
that I had this many koozies,
the boot and the rock out with my chicken out would have been mine. And
the cowboy boot is the best.
Yeah, that one would have been with me.
Yeah, here we go. For English people that don't know how this works, that one doesn't fit. Here we go.
I love it. I brought a knife. I brought a knife to a koozie fight.
Right, and I think I won.
I can't get out of koozie.
The cowboy boot one's not very easy to put the can in, because I'm having trouble.
Oh. While you're doing that, I'm gonna grab something that's gonna make your heads.
Oh my god! Please do. There we
Honestly,
go.
that actually just killed me, Joe.
If you're listening, because we're not going to cut this bit out, because I think the koozie needs to be in there. Please come to YouTube and see my Blake Shelton and Friends cruise cowboy boot koozie.
You need to do an Instagram post
of my
about all your koozies.
Oh my god, I'll do it. It's happening.
I like
I need to find my slap one.
Beat me at the pier. I don't know what that is.
Someone's given me that. Pier 30 Bar and Grill in Texas. Oh, it must have been I must have picked it up when I was in Texas.
I mean, this is not the thing that was going to blow your mind, but it's Gritty.
Oh, nice.
Gritty, the monster that is.
Oh, is that the Philly? Was that replaced the Philly Flyer or whatever his name is now?
He's so amazing. But this is what I was going to show you, which is something I inherited from my mom. Because this is big stuff where I come from.
Oh, yes.
Schultz and Dooley, the mascots of the Utica Club Brewery.
Now
is that a mustache? Is that a twirly mustache?
That's a stein. You're allowed to call that a stein because it's made out of stone.
They are. These are made. Yeah, these are made in Brazil, and so the people collect these. There's like 20 or 30 different characters.
Wow.
And they make new ones every year, and they used to sing in commercials. They were like the first animated. They were like stop motion animated commercials in the 50s.
So those that are listening and aren't coming over, come over to the YouTube because you are missing out. So these are like
missing out. It's
they are like clay steins, and they've got noses on the top part.
Prominent noses. You can drink.
And there's one that's got it's got a shamrock on it, and one has got
a twirly mustache.
A twirly black mustache, like a gold little crown helmet type job, and almost like a Delft blue pattern on it. They are beautiful.
Yes,
I'd love
this
to have
is-
those.
These are very wacky, stereotypical ways to show the German and Irish
Yeah.
traditions of the area we come from. But they would sing, "Don't give me no brews from artificial bubbles," because they
Yes.
still krausen in the tank.
Yes.
So so all the beer is naturally carbonated, and that's
Yeah.
still to this day.
That's
Those are
incredible.
amazing.
I feel like, forget the claymation. When
You
you
need to do
open
it
up,
with
you need to
those.
do one of those as your. I mean, take
Yeah.
this idea for free. I feel like I'm just handing out, like, I feel like the Oprah of ideas here. Every time I'm like, I've got an idea for you.
You get an idea. You get
get
an
an
idea.
idea.
Everybody gets an idea.
Check under your seats. That's basically.
Check
I
under your
should have been-
seat your brewery marketing plan.
I should have.
Yes.
I have the Oprah. You get an IPA and you get an IPA beer. I should have had that on today. That would have been perfect in my fridge. But that's what you need to do. Is you need to do one for Werewolf Brew, and you could have one of the steins, but it could be made to be like a wolf.
I think.
Yes.
Listen, I don't care what it costs me. I'm going to now be doing that.
Yes.
Excellent. Another idea, another marketing plan
So
sorted
you've
for
got
a
to show us
woman's
this
brew.
guy.
Yeah, I want to see this guy. He's adorable.
So this is
He's
Psycho
cute.
Billy the werewolf. Not a wolf. He's a wolf.
Oh,
And he's got a big bushy tail.
Yes.
He's the prototype.
Important.
So basically, like I don't have any of our badges made yet.
Yeah.
Basically, he's got a little biker vest and he's got brewery badges on it and stuff. So we've got one of these left to go in the crowdfunder.
excellent.
The ones that are coming out have like pink neon fluffy mohawk.
Yes.
I love that.
So yes,
He's
I'm
cute.
a big fan. These are handmade, and they'll only be made on full moons. So that's why they're
Yes.
Oh my god, that's amazing.
That is amazing.
That is actually amazing.
Seriously,
is-
listeners, if you're only listening to this one, I encourage you to come to the YouTube
that was-
because there's so many things that you need to see. In
mean,
this one.
Looking at the stuff that you've got as well on the crowdfunder, like amongst the other things that we discussed, like you had the bar tab situation, you had the t-shirt situation, the wolf, the beer koozie, you've got glassware, you've got a tote bag, there's another shirt there, there's a sweatshirt or a jumper for you British people.
Oh, thank you.
there's an evil curse.
Yes, I saw the evil curse and that made me laugh so hard. Do you want to explain the evil curse? Because
Yes,
I thought that
please.
was brilliant.
I wanted to have some of the kind of like, people that wanted to help out but weren't going to drop 100 pounds on a bar tab or like, so they could be involved. So the evil curse is 7 pounds. It was supposed to be 6 pounds 66, but crowdfunder doesn't do decimal places.
Boo.
Yeah, what a load of
Right. That's
Boo.
that's
Boo.
not marketing. That's not helpful.
So basically, you can pay the 7 pounds, and I will do a whimsical hex of some type while we're brewing, and put that into the beer against your boss, roommate, whoever you don't like.
Is your roommate
Ooh.
taking too much fridge space?
I
Are
have
they
a
always
list.
eating your food?
I got a list.
I'm trying to think of the things we listed that you could have a rant about. I mean, your X bathroom scale.
Oh, that's a
people
good
don't
one.
use, BMW drivers that don't use turn signals.
Yes.
I mean, they all have the new models. There's no turn signals on
Oh,
those. It's
well,
fine.
That's
You
could
probably
do, like,
saving a part of the rainforest by not extracting turnstile molecules.
There's has someone mansplained to you on Instagram
Oh.
about beer, Joanne? You can-
Yes, they have.
Ah,
Oh, yes, they have. We will put their hex into a beer. Let's do it. I'm all for
Now,
it.
we can also do nice things. I won't call them a blessing because the word
No, no,
blessing
no.
should come nowhere near me.
No.
But basically, yeah, we'll do that, and then I will throw it on Instagram.
Positive affirmation.
I like that.
That's
There
a
you
good
go.
one. There you go.
That's-
We've sorted
that's
two
my one.
problems today.
That's my for free for you. There you go.
Man, I should have come on here like months ago. I probably
Right?
had everything sorted.
We're full
You
of
should've
ideas.
done.
This
We're
is
the
what
best.
we do. This is
You're-
what we do.
You are definitely full of it.
But I'm
That
looking
is
through
true.
I'm looking through your crowdfunding as well. And I think my personal favorite, I personally cannot afford it myself, but I encourage anyone that can to do it. You've got 666 and it costs 666 quid and it's 666, the number of the yeast.
Yeah.
And you get to name your tanks.
That's
That is
amazing.
an amazing name. That is an amazing perk. I think everyone should go for that one. You only have seven people that can claim that. So jump on that, because that is brilliant. Get your mates
Limited.
together, and then you could name it like Tanky McTankface or something. Whatever you want to name it. Club
Brilliant.
together, support this 666 number. That is incredible.
That is brilliant.
If like you're really big, Iron Maiden fans, or if Bruce Dickinson is listening, which he might be.
He might be. That would be amazing.
Very possible. I think the 666 thing is quite reasonable.
Yeah.
I loved it. I thought that was
Number
amazing.
of the beast?
Number of the yeast made me smile so hard. So that is a good one.
And Bruce Dickinson is in beer.
You know what? When I first so Trooper is obviously not the world's greatest beer. Like I don't think we even need to say that. And then I'm like, oh, he flies an airplane. Oh, now they call him a brewer. And then I saw him on University Challenge, like for Christmas University Challenge, and I was like, he can do whatever he wants.
That literally,
he's amazing.
So I saw the first year I went to the Great British Beer Festival was 2014. Trooper had just come out, and so they had him on to present the champion beer of Britain, and I managed to get a free ticket to trade day because at the time I had a subscription box from Beerhawk, and they were like, anyone that's got a subscription box with us can have one of our free trade tickets, first come first served. And I was like, I will have one of those, please. I shall go up there. And just that there is Bruce Dickinson just awarding champion beer of Britain, but it's like it's hilarious. It's amazing that this singer is just like, I'm going to present you with the champion beer of Britain because I made a beer. I didn't. Someone else made it, but I said what I wanted it to taste like. I mean, it's an all right.
Half the battle, isn't it?
It's an all right beer,
Yeah. People go nuts for it in the US just because it's.
I think it's a label, isn't it? You want the label for it more than anything. Yeah. Like, let's be real.
Do you know what? They've done several different ones, and actually, Red and Black was the best one, which was a porter or a stout. I think that was the best one I've had. I'm not so fond of that they're changing, like it's still Trooper, but they've changed the label. Like there's a Day of the Dead one. It's not actually a different beer. It's just Trooper with a Day of the Dead label. And I was like,
yeah, I'd buy that though, because I love. So my wedding was like Day of the Dead themed.
Is it?
So
cultural appropriation.
Is it cultural appropriation? I literally was just like, cultural appropriation ? Because all they're doing is it's the same beer with a different label, and they're making money out of it. Like they're not appreciating the culture behind that. They're just sticking a label on it.
Well, that's true. You could go for flavors that are more
They could go for like a Mexican lager or something like that,
or horchata or something like that.
A Mexican hot chocolate stout. Like it's just Trooper with a
have that.
Right,
gorgeous.
I'd be all over that.
Speaking of Hamilton, so you said you were briefly at Hamilton, didn't you?
Yep.
And their Mexican cake was incredible. They have it's like you could taste it. So almond, I find usually gets lost in beers, and you could taste the almond and the vanilla and the almond. It was absolutely gorgeous. So just that was the connection of when you said Hamilton, I was like, oh my god, yes, that was amazing. And the label was gorgeous because it was Day of the Dead like all over the label, and I was like, yes,
I'm all about Day of the Dead, but you got to appreciate that
it's appreciation of it.
Right,
so yeah, for me it was appreciation
culture.
of the colors, the whole attitude about Day of the Dead.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you're just going to use the face of it because that's what it is.
That's where I'm like, I'm not happy about that.
Bruce is a very learned man. He should know better.
Right, exactly. But they have a massive.
You tell him.
From what I know, they have a massive fan base in Mexico, and
I'm sure they do. I look. You can see my Bad Religion love probably like.
I've just noticed that the number plate. That's the Bad Religion number plate.
Yeah.
Illinois.
Behind you. Yeah. That's brilliant. That is brilliant.
I got that way back, so it would have been 1997, 98 when the Bad Religion mailing list, like email list existed.
Oh wow!
And some girl went on and said, "I've got two of these, and I'm only going to use one." And I traded her. I made cassette tapes of all my Bad Religion CDs and traded them.
Yes.
Cassette tapes.
Welcome to us being old.
It's fine. That's the truly. But then were you like, it's not a romantic thing. I just want the number plate.
Oh no! Honestly, that was the only interaction we ever had.
Just a
It
trade.
wasn't, I didn't make her a mixtape. I just copied them directly and said, "Here you go."
That's fair enough. You've got to make that distinction.
Yeah.
It's not a mixtape.
No, a mixtape is something
It
completely different.
Yeah.
Do youngins even know what a mixtape is anymore?
I guarantee if I gave my nephew
Yeah.
a tape, he'd be like, "How do I play this? What is this?"
So I think isn't there's that YouTube channel where it's like they give young
the
people
kids
stuff and
they
gave
do it with video
and
games
they pulled
stuff, yeah.
and they pull part of the tape out and they were like, "Oh my god, we've broken it!" And then you put a pencil in and rewind it. They were
Or
like,
you give them a tape recorder and they're like,
Yeah.
"How do you put your MP3s on it?"
yeah, they're like pushing. Where's the button to play the music? Like that's
Yes.
Never. Right, for those that are listening, Rich has just shown us a cassette copy of
Covering up the
Nirvana.
baby's wee. But,
Yeah, we don't want
That
baby.
version
You've got to
of
cover
Nirvana.
that. That could get you in trouble now. It's just
At
don't
some
do that.
point, I've got.
I've already seen enough today after the 3-year-old's birthday party in the garden.
God,
Oh,
yeah,
yes,
you
I
probably-
bet.
It's
it
like,
was
"I
slightly
can't afford
sunny.
it."
That's too late.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Back to you. What I'm actually
Yes.
really curious on actually about you is what I've been holding off asking. So how did you kind of decide that you were like, you know what, I'm have you commercially brewed on your own before, or have you just decided I'm ready to commercially brew now?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Yeah, it was. So I was at London Brewing for 5 years and started out on little tiny 2-barrel kit in the kitchen at the Bull in Highgate, and helped kind of the expansion to the 6-barrel kit, which is still not that big. But we also had like double size fermenters. So we were doing like 13-barrel batches and shipping beer out all over the country, and doing seasonal stuff for Mitchell and Butlers. And like at one point we got selected for the regional program at Nicholson's. And the way they did it this time around was like they had, this part of Scotland and this part of the North Country and whatever. And then London was a region. And so the person they picked for London got the region.
Okay.
And so we ended up having to supply 10 different beers for a month to almost 200 pubs.
Wow, that's a lot.
Wow, that's
I know
crazy.
we had a Nicholson's pub in Canterbury. I don't know if it still is, but we've definitely got at least one in Canterbury.
Yeah, no, it was, so we did,
That's
I think we had to do 2 beers in can. We had to do 3 or 4 keg beers, and then another like 6 cask.
Wow,
And,
that's mad.
like,
That is
Yeah, it
crazy.
was, so yeah, for a brewery our size, it was quite something.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I did a lot of that stuff. We won a few awards. We got like silver for we got a lot of awards for Oyster Stout, which was the first beer I came up with, our 100 oysters.
Joanne
Do you know
loves
what?
oysters.
Do you know what? I love an oyster. I absolutely love an oyster. So, did it have
Did you put oysters in
shell
it?
in it? Did you put oysters in it?
We put the shells and
The
meat in.
shell. Oh, you did.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I was
If you go to the London Brewing Company Instagram or Twitter today, they've got a picture. I think the video might actually be me smashing an oyster with a hammer.
See, I made Tori try an oyster stout recently, and she was like, "Oh my god, it's gonna be gross," and it wasn't. Like,
I don't like seafood. That should be the
but it
preface. is
doesn't.
I don't like
taste
seafood, so
like
when I hear
it
oyster
doesn't-
stout,
I'm not a
no
massive
part of it.
seafood fan, and do you know what? When you go this is funny because
It was
when I was
fine.
in America, people are like, "But you're from England. Why don't you like seafood?"
That was a really good. Well done.
Thank
that was
you.
a really good.
I've been around Americans for a very long time, and they always go,
Sorry.
"But
Probably
you're
better
from
than I could do now.
But you're from England. Why don't you like seafood?" And I'm like, I don't like seafood, mate. Like, I'll have a battered cod, but that's about it. But yeah, I'm not a seafood person, but I love an oyster stout.
Yeah, she probably loves it, and I was just
Okay.
like, I think my visual of that was, I was like, it's gonna be salty, it's gonna be like
No.
the sea, and I was like, oh, I don't know, and she's like, just try it.
I made
And
her try
It wasn't
one.
bad. Like it
Yeah.
wasn't my favorite of the night, the milk.
Yeah,
stout
but there was
more
a verdant and a
spicy.
milk stout in there. Like, that's not a surprise.
Yeah,
But it
yeah.
wasn't like you didn't go, I'm never drinking that again.
No, I was like,
So,
I'm
win
open
for
to
me.
it now. I'm open to it. But I guess that leads me to, for your brewery, are you going to do any stouts?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
For right now, the main thing, like the main dark beer, is going to be the brown ale. But
Yes, thank you.
there'll probably be seasonal ones in.
Yeah.
The other thing is our kind of small batch stuff is going to, I said everything is going to be clear and bitter and traditional. But the wacky stuff, we're focusing specifically on beers that are unusual colors.
Yes,
So
please.
generally from natural ingredients. So
That's amazing.
Are you going to do a green beer for St. Patrick's Day?
Of course.
Yes, sir. This is what I live for. I want weird beers.
Shamrock shake.
Yes, I didn't mind. You didn't like the Shamrock shake, but I didn't mind it. I want weird beers. That's what I want. I love a weird beer. I want to try it. I want to try all the weirds.
I'll try it. I'll always try it. The Northern Monk weird cheese and onion. I'm like, I'll try it.
We're deciding whether we're going to buy the prawn cocktail one.
I'll try it. Can't promise I'll have more than one.
Was it Salopian that did the Langostine, or was it Marble? That did the Langostine Goza.
I can't remember.
It wasn't bad.
Yeah.
I just can't remember exactly who it was.
Yeah,
I'm gonna have to Google that now.
Yeah.
I used to live near the Rake, and so I have a lot of nights where I know it was good. I just don't remember what it was.
Well, that's the thing is, like, I see something weird and people run away from it, and I run to it.
You gotta try. I feel like you need to try these weird things.
But even the stuff coming out of the US, when they're like, "Oh, we've got a buffalo chicken IPA, and then we've got a blue cheese." I don't even like blue cheese, but I was like, if I could get my hands on it, I would try them both, and I'd do it as
we
a
got to try
mixer.
the mustard beer. We got to try my mustard.
Yeah,
beer.
so she's brewed a mustard beer, and I've got it set to the side, ready to go.
Send me.
I can send you
a box. We'll sort it out.
We'll sort it out.
After we're done recording, we haven't tried it yet.
We need.
I've got two because I need one for my barbecues and one for our podcast episode. Yeah.
So starting my own place. Part of it was I'd been someplace and pretty confidently making beer and running quite a lot of the operations around sales and licensing and all sorts of stuff. And also approaching age 40, and I'm like, it's kind of now or never. So coming to age 40, and it's now or never.
Yeah.
And wife was very encouraging of this. She's a permanent bar manager for the Great British Beer Festival.
Oh, brilliant!
Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah. So she's definitely always been on the yay beer side of everything, and on the yay me side of things. So when I'm like, oh, I can't do this, and she's like, no, you can, you must. Yes. You're competent and valued. So
go away, imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was, it took a long time. I was a little bit tired from working in the same place for a while, and had beaten myself down a little bit. So starting Werewolf Beer has been rebuilding me quite a bit, and it took a long time before I even started having ideas I was happy with, and it kind of made me progress. And then when I wasn't making progress, I felt crap.
Yeah.
And so there's a bit of a downward spiral there. And now we're in happy place, and it's still hard work.
It's always going to be, though. If it's not hard work and you're not working hard, are you really going to enjoy? If it was easy, would you really enjoy the output in the same way? That's the real question.
And this is the thing, like, so I started Love Beer Learning back in July, and that there are moments where and this is the thing, like, recently I had a lot of negative comments on content by people. They were not my target market. They were not the people that I'm trying to help and educate. But they're still giving you negative comments, and you're like, you're trying, like, that still affects you. And then I've got a course starting on the 26th of April, and already I've got two people that have signed up for that. Two women have signed up for that to learn about beer with me, and you've got to think about that and the people that you're serving, and the people, like, your target market and you being there for them. Like, it doesn't matter what other people think. And that imposter syndrome will sit there and peck at you, and it will say, are you really doing everything you can? And is this like
did you make the right decision?
Did you make the right decision to start? Did I make the right decision to start this? And but you know what? I've taught more than 20 people now about beer. And that's what I started for. And you know, someone messaged me on Instagram today to say, like, I did a little bit for World Art Day, and they were like, I'm so glad you put this up, because that's encouraged me to put up about the art that I love. And, you know, I do my account for art, and I love what you've done. And it's like, you know, that's what we're here for. We're here to encourage people and to give them the confidence to go out and do what they do. And you're here creating beer for people to enjoy, and you're going to create beers that people are going to enjoy.
That's it. When people start coming into your chat room, and they're like, I love this half decapitated women from the spider web, and I get to enjoy this beer in this amazing like ghost car.
I want to see a ghost train beer pub where I can go have an American brown ale. That sounds amazing to me.
Can I make a request though? Like, can you get Frank Turner to play a private gig? I will be there, so I don't care how much it costs.
The dream, right?
I will be there.
It is a yes and a no. Because number one, I can't have any live music as things are currently.
Yeah, because of licenses and whatever.
But could you just sing along to a pre-recorded?
We'll figure something out. But did you see the tweet I had Frank send out?
No, I didn't see it.
Okay, so he tweeted, because I'm like, anybody I can get to help me out.
Yeah, absolutely.
The crowdfunder. So I'm like, that was the other thing. So yeah, I met my wife because of Frank, but did we discuss?
I already know exactly what you're going to say, but tell us, because I know this, but Joanne doesn't.
So photograph.
I'm so jealous.
Right, so tell us who's in this photograph, please.
So that's Laura. Sorry, I got it backwards. Laura, me.
Yep.
And Morse from the Sleeping Souls, and Frank Turner.
Amazing.
Photograph.
So we got For anyone that doesn't know, the Sleeping Souls is Frank Turner's band.
Okay.
Yes. So we got married at his show in Lancaster, Pennsylvania.
Amazing.
And he Pennsylvania was founded by Quakers. Yep. So a lot of the Quaker laws are still in the books.
Yeah.
And so regular marriage licenses require an officiant or celebrant of some type to perform the ceremony and do it. Even for the civil ceremony, there needs to be somebody. But because excuse me if my understanding isn't 100% right, within the Quaker church, there's no hierarchy. So everybody's equal. So they have a self-uniting marriage license. Oh, wow. So you say, I, as a person of sound mind that know myself, want to marry this other person, and they agree, and they want to do that as well. And you just need witnesses.
Wow.
And the only reason I knew about this is because in my like boring like Christopher Hitchens reading, like atheist days, I got an atheist magazine. They had a story about a couple that wanted one of these in Pennsylvania, and they said, nope, can't have it. You're not Quakers. And they said, we'll see you at the Supreme Court. And they won. And so now, as long as you ask for them, you can have it, because they can't deny it based on your religion. And it's really, really great. So we got married at the Frank Turner gig. And he played, he played the song we wanted, and we danced to it. And he told everyone the entire story I told you about meeting at Wembley Arena. And also took a picture of all of us and tweeted it out. And,
that's amazing.
I'm so when you told me this the first time on Instagram, I was like, literally like, I'm so jealous, but also that is such an amazing, like, the story itself is amazing. And I think the idea of the way you had your wedding was amazing in general. The whole equal, I'm here, we're equals, we're getting married.
That's amazing.
You know. Okay, we'll wrap this up in a minute. So before we wrap this up, let's go back to you.
Crowdfunder, very important stuff.
We did the crowdfunder, we did all that. I want to know two things. One, are you going to brew a pumpkin beer?
This is a very important.
This is a very important question to me. To me specifically, are you going to brew a pumpkin beer in October?
Yes.
I cannot listen. I don't care if I have to have it down the brewing.
I will.
There are no pumpkin spice latte Ugg boot wearing sorority girls.
I will wear
in full
all
color
the
here.
Ugg
I'm
boots.
I'm still making a pumpkin beer. I don't care. That is part of our identity, and Halloween is part of our identity.
I've got
Yes.
2 pumpkin beer. I got a pumpkin double and a normal pumpkin spice ale from Joanne sitting in my fridge that I haven't drunk. I've got some. We did an episode. Yeah, we did an episode.
Whenever I can get it.
Yeah.
The American section at Sainsbury's.
I've got some in my cupboard. I can donate you that. I'll donate my time to just come and help in any way I can.
This is it.
More pumpkin beer means more pumpkin beer.
A woman's brew on the road. We are coming to Werewolf Beer and we're going to brew a pumpkin beer. That's it.
Help you. Donate for free. My time.
Yeah, we'll do it for free. We will be there.
So there's that question.
I'll
And then
buy lunch.
my second question.
Perfect.
I'll even buy lunch if you just make the pumpkin beer. I will frigging buy lunch. I don't even care.
And we can drink it. That would make us really happy.
My second question for you is, if you were to brew the most out there beer, so you've got some pretty under control beers, and you said you're not going to have anything sort of that crazy, at least initially. What is something that you are looking forward to brewing the absolute most?
Brilliant question.
It's probably going to be a lot more boring than I think it is, but I need a beetroot beer. And I know people have done them before. And the other thing that I can't, like, anything involving like black pepper.
Yes, please.
Can you do like a black pepper saison?
Yeah.
Yes, please.
Yeah, this is me growing up around Dogfish Head being a thing.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, those kind of things. Or oh god, Magic Hat back in the day.
Oh my god, Magic Hat. I've tried to explain to people. So I've gone to Magic Hat in Vermont. I've literally gone there, and my favorite thing is I went there before I was 21 in the US. I think I was 20 maybe, or 19 or something like that. I went there, and I went there with my mum and my 2 sisters, and they basically were like, so they let me do the tour under 21, and they're like, you're not supposed to be drinking. And my mum is we were just having the conversation about Christianity and all that. My mum was very a nice Christian woman. Me and my sisters are not like that. I don't know if you've got the vibes at all, but we're not like that at all. So my sisters were like, it's all right. Like, we'll get in on this. It's fine. So we get to the end. I'm doing the tasting with them. No one's asked me any questions. And then you get X amount of drink tokens at the end that you could go spend at the bar in Vermont, which is, as far as I'm aware, no longer, because they had 2 locations. I think one was New York maybe, and one was Vermont, and they've closed the Vermont location.
They got bought by Constellation Brands, I think. So they're owned by the company that owns Genesee and a bunch of South American breweries.
So when I was there, they were owned by themselves. Yeah. And yeah, it was like the end of the tour came, and my sister was like, we're gonna get you some drinks. So my mum was like, stop it, girls. Okay. Then we left with like a 6-pack of Magic Hat. That used to be that and Harpoon used to be my drinks of choice. And I think that's something that's quite interesting about like the US versus UK. In the US, you have a lot of, and I don't, obviously you'll know this, Richard, and Joe, you definitely know this. There's obviously the rules in the US around what's macro, what's micro. You know, here it's a bit more vague, but what's really interesting is
it's completely vague.
Yeah, it's very vague. But I don't know if you've sort of got the same, if I'm way off base with your thinking as well, Rich, but in the US, it's kind of, you'll have these breweries that are actually they'll appear as if they're macro, but actually they're craft. So Harpoon / UFO. They are owned by, if I've got this correctly, no, I'm sure I'll get hate mail if I've not got it correct, but it's owned by the staff. Like all the staff have shares in Harpoon. I'm from Boston, so it's Boston based. I've been there, you know, all that. And the staff have shares, and I think that's really brilliant. And it's cool to see that model, but they're so readily available that you'd actually almost think they're a macro brewery from the Massachusetts. I don't know if it was the same in New York or anything like that, but Massachusetts,
so
it was so readily available.
when you get from the Brewers Association every year, there's the survey of all of the microbreweries in the country.
Yeah.
And they're divided by size within micro. And so so Harpoon would fall under family regional.
They do cider, they do beer, they do like everything.
Yeah. So for New York, like Saranac would be one of the regionals. I mean, they sell stuff all over the Northeast. But because the barrelage is so big, they can go really far places. And then obviously 3-tier system and distribution networks, state to state laws make it weird. But yeah, you can have massive breweries. And the other thing is now the ownership interest that's allowed is up to 25%.
Oh, wow.
So an outside ownership by a drinks business can be a maximum of 25%. So like Brooklyn is owned like 24.5% by Asahi or something like that.
Yeah.
So it's, I mean, like, okay, so maybe the sizes are a bit bonkers sometime. And yes, they move the goalposts whenever, Boston Beer Company goes up a notch. But at least it's written down. Like it's, what you're dealing with.
It's defined. It's very clearly defined.
Yeah.
It's not, but what I find is in the US, even though it is clearly defined, you do, with the exception of the few harpoons and, Sam Adams and that stuff, it's very clear what is macro and what is craft. And it's like over here, it's kind of not the same. It's like Shipyard, and we were discussing when in the bit that we're probably cutting out, I don't know. Like Shipyard in the US is very much like craft, but over here it's macro. In the US, it's very, you kind of can tell what is a macro and what is a craft for the most part, except you have those things.
For you and I, because we're in the in group, know that. But so Anheuser-Busch and the big boys have been working for decades to take on that facade, and that's where your Blue Moons and Shop Top and everything exists. And that's why the U.S. Brewers Association had to bring out their clearly independent stamp that goes on things like SIBA's done here. And they're having to push it because consumers in a supermarket, people can't tell. They don't know. They're shopping by price and maybe packaging.
Yeah.
And the other thing about it is, so you've got that. The U.S. went, since I've left, the number of breweries ballooned, if not doubled, I think.
It absolutely exploded. From when we moved here at the same time, from when I moved here to when I've gone back to visit more recently, it has absolutely exploded just in the area that I'm from in Massachusetts.
It's gone hyper local. So anything that is close to you, people will buy. And that isn't always quality dependent, which is kind of crappy. But then the kind of the regionals, the macros still do well. I mean, they're still having issues, but the middle people get squeezed. So basically, people like Saranac or Harpoon are the kind of ones, the middle is getting squished because people are just driving to a place that's within 5 miles of them and picking up and drinking directly, which is fine and good. Yeah. But the way the model's been in the past, like it's taken a lot of adjustment for the middle people. The people at the top are still, the shareholders are a bit sad, but Budweiser's not going out of business.
They can be sad, but they can be sad in their like £1 million mansions.
Right. Right. So yeah, that's the thing. And so sorry to say this, England's the size of New York.
Right.
Exactly. I try to remind people all the time.
4 times. We can fit 4 times in Texas.
Yeah. When I've said like I'm driving up to Scotland and it's an 8-hour drive, people in this country are like, "Oh my god, you're crazy."
That's so far.
To people in the US, and I'm like, "That's going from me to New York."
Tori drove to me, and my husband was like, "That's so far." It was
an hour, it was less than 2 hours.
Yeah. So like you guys are like, yeah, that's nothing. Like whereas we're like, oh my god, you drove so far.
I see my in-laws maybe like every 4 years.
Yeah.
Like 4 years, and they're in Devon. We're in London. It's a straight road.
Yeah. It was my approach to driving.
They didn't make it wide enough near Stonehenge, and everybody.
And everyone stops there. And
it's,
I'm so sick of Stonehenge. I don't know if you feel the same as I do. I'm so sick of.
You've said so annoying
because of the fact that I've had to take so many people that come to visit me. Everyone wants to go to Stonehenge. I've gone there like 4 times. I've gone on the London Eye about 5 or 6 times. I'm over it. I don't want to do it anymore.
My problem with Stonehenge is my problem with a lot of things as far as archaeology and popular culture, which is the little recorder you get, which is really, it's actually pretty good until the end when they're like, what do you think the ancients were trying to tell us? I'm like, why are you asking me?
Oh, you're supposed to tell me.
I will say,
tell me what I need to know, please.
Tower of London, probably the best tour that I've ever
really?
gone on.
I don't think I've done that.
I like the animatronic like video of the Queen and everything, or like
no, I'm talking about like beef, like the beef eater. That's
sorry. You know what? I still haven't done the Tower.
Oh my god, Tower of London was my favorite tour, and I've been there twice. Because everyone, again, I've got to take everybody there when they want to go. But I think the thing that I found with the US versus the UK and tourist attractions is like people over here in the US, it's more like teenagers working summer jobs that have to show you around. Over here, people are more passionate about their jobs. So you go to the Tower of London, they are skilled and they're excited to tell you. And they're a bit like cheeky, they're a bit like sassy with their presentation. I love the guy.
I've found that a lot in the right places in the US have that. Because there's a lot of those people like worked at Disney for a season.
Yeah, they do.
So there's a lot of that. My friend Jess, who lives upstairs and works for Passyunk Avenue, the Philly cheesesteak restaurant.
Yeah, they make cheesesteaks. I've heard of them.
Sorry, you've heard of them from me, probably. So.
No, I've heard of them because I've looked for cheesesteaks in London.
Yeah, you need. But basically, she's worked at things like the Sex Museum and the Motor Museum in Philly, the Museum of Medical Oddities, and I think she was talking last night about working at the Intrepid in New York City.
Yeah.
And so she's
the dock next to there.
Yeah, she's one of those people that cares about history and cares about you finding out about things, and those people exist. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, as somebody that grew up in a place where the American Revolution happened, I mean, my schoolhood days are just hanging out in forts made out of timber. People.
I remember waking up at 6 o'clock in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning to go to a Revolutionary War reenactment, and I'm and it lasts about 20 minutes, and you're like, I mean, growing up in Massachusetts, you had Lexington and Concord, and you'd watch them. You'd get up at 5 a.m., you'd get there, and they'd do about 20 minutes of fake gun battle, and then you'd be like, can we just go get a coffee now? Are we done? Are we done here?
I grew up on the Erie Canal, so we had like the Erie Canal Village and the Herkimer home, and so like the number of places. The Simpsons episode about the Historical Society, like it's all about making Johnny cake. Like it's absolutely, this is everybody in the 13 lives as a child.
In my town, we had a dinosaur with an opposable thumb.
What?
Yeah.
So everybody's like, let's go play video games over at that dinosaur's house.
Right.
We had one of the things that pops up is the Cardiff Giant for us. It was one of the biggest hoaxes of the 20th century, I think.
Okay.
Some guy basically made a big mummified dead person that was like 9 feet tall and buried it, and then came back like 6 months later and dug it up.
Oh wow!
And charged people like 3 pennies to see it in a tent.
Wow.
And this went on for years, and a few things about it. It is massive, and I think it still exists.
Yeah.
It also had a big giant like wang.
Oh goodness.
It's like, I don't know why
that was obviously necessary.
If you are gonna set something up like that, are you not just gonna go, I'm also gonna give it a big wang? Like, are you gonna go, he was 6 feet tall and it was 3 inches? Like, no, you're not gonna do that. You're gonna go, it's at least 2 feet. Joe, you can have a final question. I'm gonna have a final. My final question is, are there any elements of the US that you'd like to bring to the UK and vice versa?
I think aside from beer that I really enjoy and kind of the quality consistency on small scale that I kind of rediscovered in a barbecue restaurant before
amazing
lockdown. If there was anything I could bring over,
like what would you bring to both? Like if you were like, here's my American offering to you British people, and here's my British offering to you American people.
Yeah, I think, God, is it gonna be is it gonna be customer service?
Yes. I mean,
It's-
maybe.
I mean, I want people to be at work and happy, even if they have to fake it. No, I'm kidding. They're going to be there because
Fake
they
it
want
till
to
you
be
make
there.
it.
And they're no fake it till you make it. And they're going to welcome guests in. And it doesn't matter that it's, it's like this weird rock and roll monster place. Like, it's one of the things that I think across the board Brewdog has done with their bars.
Yeah.
So say whatever you want about them, but they understand service and
Yep.
helping people do things they enjoy and
Yeah.
engaging with the staff and with people. And
Yep.
that's I want that to happen.
Yes,
Um,
please.
I want to show the best parts of America. I've said it before, it's a really tough nut to crack, especially after the last 4 years. Like there wasn't enough problematic things in American history. So now I have to like figure out how to make America as a brand in my brewery something inclusive and not full of
Not what people think.
problems. And some of it's going to be looking back at Americana, which is some of this is the American dream.
Yeah.
You know what? Like we can take that and squish it into the age we live in and want good things for people. And that's what I want it to be hopeful, but with monsters.
Yeah.
Hopeful with
Hopeful with
monsters.
monsters.
Can we
That's
call
the
the episode
tagline.
Hopeful with
Hopeful with
monsters? Yeah, like
monsters.
that.
That's what I'm
Hopeful,
calling it.
but with
Hopeful,
monsters.
hopeful,
With
dot,
monsters.
but with monsters. So we've got that aspect. What if you could take one thing to the US from British culture? What would it be?
Healthcare is an easy answer, but we're not.
Yes.
No, that's not but that's not
Yeah,
like
yeah.
bar
No,
related.
that's
That's the
better.
obvious. We preach that all the time.
Going the other way.
I could say my one if it helps you.
What is
Mine would be pub culture, because I don't feel we have pub culture in the same way. I don't think it's that same casual pub culture. I think there's the downside to pub culture, the downside aside. I think that we've got bars, but we don't really have casual pubs in the same way. At least not where I'm from. We don't have that same pub scene. It's either you're going to a bar or you're going to a restaurant with a bar.
Yeah, no, we in Syracuse we had it. I mean, we got an entire downtown that is just it's basically pubs. I mean, we even had Clark's Ale House, which had like hand pumps on.
We didn't have any of that. So to me, the pubs aspect of it is the more casual meeting ground of a pub versus a bar.
Like the
bigger
local
thing. Yeah,
meetings.
we didn't have that.
I guess I haven't answered the what would I bring back? Like
Maybe there's nothing worth bringing back, and that's okay.
The answer is healthcare.
as far as
Healthcare.
breweries, I mean, I appreciate the ability. There is a bit of lack of regulation around brewing stuff here, and I'm not going to go one way or the other on that, but it's really easy to open a brewery here as compared to the US. The amount of stuff you have to do locally, regionally, nationally to open a brewery here, it's one page and send us a picture of what you think the brewery is going to look like, and as long as you aren't on a terrorist watch list, I think you're okay. I mean,
That's good. So you're not on a terrorist watch list. That's brilliant.
Good to know.
We didn't vet you before asking you on.
so yeah, it's pretty easy to open a brewery here.
That's good.
So I guess more ease of accessibility to being the business owner.
Yeah, it's you would think that would translate to more route to market, but it doesn't. because
nothing's ever straightforward, is it?
Then you've got the tie. So really easy to open a brewery, really hard to sell anybody beer.
Yeah. And then Joe, any final question from you?
Favorite beer style? Go.
It's so to the point. Go. You can only have one.
Only one.
Only one.
Can we put the Jeopardy theme song in here?
I know that's tough.
Drink it forever and ever and ever and ever.
Yeah, one for life. You're on a desert island. You're trapped on a desert island. You get one style. Now cue the Jeopardy theme song.
Flanders Red.
Yes.
Oh, that is surprising.
I am here for that. Yes, please.
Yeah.
I'm joining the desert island.
Yep. Nope. Yes. I mean, it can be other ones and not Duchess, but.
But that's the best.
Yeah. No, I could just drink it for days and days and days, and I don't care if I have heartburn.
I am with you.
That's a very surprising, but well done. So, Rich, think that's all the questions we've got for you. Where can people find you? Obviously, we know the crowdfunder. We're going to put the crowdfunder in the show notes. We're going to try to get all the pictures and everything else in the episode. Where can people find you, find the brewery, plug yourself?
Yes. So on all of the socials, everything, every single thing you can think of. And if there's something that I haven't got it on yet, it's
DM him. Let him know.
Please send me a message and tell me what new cool social media I should be on. It's just Werewolf Beer on everything: Twitter, Instagram, Facebook,
TikTok.
LinkedIn. It's on TikTok, Pinterest.
Yes.
There's no dance.
Clubhouse.
There's no dance videos yet. I gotta get back down to my fighting weight. And werewolfbeer.com. Yeah, we're members of the London Brewers Alliance. We're now members of the U.S. Brewers Association and SIBA, and we will be everything going possibly the way it should, which it will. It will absolutely.
It's definitely going to go that way.
It will.
Yep. So basically, Camden Town, North London. We should not be. You should basically be able to walk in and go, "Where's the Werewolf Brewery?" And people will just point and maybe cringe, or they'll look at you longingly and pull their shawl across their face and jet into a cloud of fog because they're so scared.
Brilliant.
Yeah. That's how you find us. If you want to look up me and hear a lot of annoying things about Syracuse, New York, Syracuse Punk, PUNK, on all the relevant social media as well.
Brilliant.
So brilliant. So we look forward to your successful crowdfunder. As soon as payday comes, I'm definitely investing. I might do the glass and the t-shirt. I'm not sure. I have to wait for payday because I impulse buyed way too much before I saw the crowdfunder. So I'm definitely doing that. I want the tattoo t-shirt and I want the glass. So I'm definitely going to be there, but everyone else should support. Go there. You've got 10K in 10 days, but not by the time this episode comes out. It will be less. But as of right now, that is it. And get involved, support, and then we can all go and have a nice big Frank Turner meetup in Camden.
Yes.
So with that, we'll sign off. Cheers.
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 Well, that was a very interesting discussion with Rich there.
Don't know which way you're going to leave in and what you're going to edit out. We veered off in a lot of different ways.
He totally enabled our
I was going to say, normally we're really, really good. With guests, we're very on course, but he let us veer off course.
Yeah. Totally went on tangents.
Yeah. Oh God, he is great though, in the sense of he just totally went with it. Wherever we went, he was like, "It's good. Everything's great." So, his crowdfunder is ending soon, as in less than 10 days now.
Yes,
less than 10K in 10 days.
Yeah.
So go check that out. Very important that you support. I'm gonna go and be supporting very soon. Want this t-shirt?
Be in the show notes. Link will be in the show notes. Go and donate. It sounds like a brilliant project. I think it'd be great to invest.
And it's in Camden. It's in Camden. You want to know who doesn't want to go to Camden? I definitely want to go to Camden. So super excited about that.
So Troy Powell, if people want to talk to you about Camden, where can they get hold of you?
It's the fact you full named me. It's really caught me.
Sometimes you need full
name me. Well, I say full name me. You full nickname me, quite regularly, and it just throws me off course. If people want to talk to me about Camden or punk rock music or metal or whatever, you can find me on adventures_in_optimism on Instagram, because that's kind of the only place that I am, besides maybe TikTok, and even then I don't even produce the same type of videos Joanne does. Joe, if people want to talk to you about investing in this crowdfunder and what you've invested in, where can they find you?
If you'd like to speak to me on my personal account, I am A Woman's Brew. That is on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. I don't really check the Twitter, so don't bother doing it there.
I don't.
No. If you would like to come and join my beer school, we are Love Beer Learning, and we are on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. We are also on TikTok. We are on Pinterest. Come and find us in all of those places. We have a new round of Build Your Beer Vocabulary starting on the 26th of April. So come and join us on that as well if you want to up your beer tasting game. If you want to check out information about that, that is on the website, which is lovebeerlearning.co.uk, or you can email us lovebeerlearning@gmail.com, and we'll pick up emails there for the podcast as well. So on that note,
Get your beer cozies out.
Get your
Cheers.
beer cozy. Cheers.
Cheers.